Hello there and welcome. You're joining me, Theruni Karnaratna, on this Saturday's final edition of YES101's Visual Radio. Let's start off with this evening's headlines.
News First headline.
President pledges to further reduction in cost of living by 2025. Sajid Premadasa promises 15% increase in interest on senior citizens' savings. Anurag Kumara Dissanayake vows to foster prosperity through fair tax system. Modernizing Sri Lanka starts with revamping public service, says Namal. Fonseca says that the nation should be liberated from partisan politics. Shakti Crown, a quest for Sri Lanka's next music sensation, tonight. In international news, nearly 300,000 Bangladeshis in emergency shelters after floods. And in sports, its cricket injured Wood will not bowl on day 4 against Sri Lanka. On to those stories in detail now. Independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickremesinghe has asserted that the cost of living will be further reduced by 2025. He made this statement at a public rally in Batiklo. State Minister Sivanesa Santhirakantan alias Pillayan organised the rally to support independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickremesinghe's election campaign. Citing price reductions of commodities, the president assured that by 2025 he will provide relief to living expenses. Wickremesinghe said that he sought to make the most out of the 365 days of 2023, but emerging from poverty and bankruptcy was not an overnight process. Addressing the recent Supreme Court ruling on his failure to hold local government elections on time, he also claimed that the court's order against him was a violation of fundamental rights. Wickremesinghe went on to claim that ensuring the well-being of the people should not be considered a breach of fundamental rights and that he is prepared to endure hardships for the benefit of the people. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Samagi Janabalawege, Sajid Premadasa, said that the allowance provided for senior citizens will be increased from 3,000 rupees to 5,000 rupees and the interest on savings for senior citizens will also be raised to 15%. He expressed these views while addressing the Samagi Janabalawege public rally in Digana. Many parliamentarians and party activists attended the rally. Sajid Premadasa added that the Agrahara insurance scheme will be extended to those who retired before 2016. He went on to say that a government of the SJB will restore the lost privileges to those who retired during the period of 2016 to 2019. Premadasa said that his government will strengthen the retired community through a new act. He added that they are working to enhance the privileges of all these individuals, including police officers, civil defense personnel and soldiers. The SJB presidential candidate said that the first step will be to cut unnecessary government expenditure, starting with reducing the president's budget. Premadasa added that he will ensure that his presidency does not become a burden to the country. Meanwhile, presidential candidate of the National People's Power, Anurag Kumara Dissanayake, said that his aspiration is to create a prosperous nation by implementing a fair and equitable tax system. The Balangoda rally of the National People's Power was held under the leadership of Anurag Kumara Dissanayake. Dissanayake pointed out that Sri Lanka can generate new revenue by focusing on industrial development. He stated that as the tea industry generates profits, the government will implement a fair tax on those earnings. Dissanayake went on to note that high taxes have constrained industries such as the gem industry, adding that they are striving to develop Sri Lanka into a major gem hub. He added that under an NPP government, the emergence of new businesses and entrepreneurs will be encouraged and these ventures will also generate income. The presidential candidate also said that the NPP plans to enhance transparency by informing taxpayers about how exactly their taxes are being used. He also said that a system will be defined to send detailed SMS updates to every taxpayer, outlining how much tax they have paid and how those funds have been allocated for causes such as education, healthcare, road construction and security. Now, presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana Namal Rajapaksa said that modernizing the nation begins with transforming public service. The Dewlapitiya rally of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna was held under the leadership of presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa. Rajapaksa said that regardless of who comes to power or when an election is being held, a system that ensures income growth for the government workers and the public needs to be established in line with the country's inflation. He added that the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna has introduced a modernized set of policies for this year's elections to address this issue. Independent presidential candidate Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca stressed that the nation should be liberated from partisan politics. A public meeting was held in Maharagama today to support Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca's independent presidential bid. Fonseca stated that although politicians secure loans from around the world, those funds are often misappropriated by corrupt officials, and that meanwhile loans are repaid without addressing the basic needs of the people. He went on to note that he has committed himself to resolving this crisis and guiding the country out of this turmoil. He added that corrupt politicians embezzle public funds and distribute meager handouts such as cement and rice to deceive the impoverished. Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca also said that if we do not escape this cycle of corruption, the people's lives will remain stagnant. Let's now take a look at international news.
International news.
Now, nearly 300,000 Bangladeshis were taking refuge in emergency shelters on Saturday from floods that inundated vast areas of the low-lying South Asian country. The floods were triggered by heavy monsoon rains and have killed at least 42 people in Bangladesh and India since the start of the week, many in landslides. The nation of 170 million people is crisscrossed by hundreds of rivers and has seen frequent floods in the recent decades. Now, monsoon rains cause widespread destruction every year, but climate change is shifting weather patterns and increasing the number of extreme weather events. Let's now take a look at your sports news.
Sports news.
Well, in sports, it's cricket. England fast bowler Mark Wood has sustained right thigh injury and will not take part in the fourth day of the first test against Sri Lanka. Wood pulled up 2 deliveries into his 11th over in Sri Lanka's second innings on the third evening at Emirates Old Trafford and left the field immediately. Wood has been electrifying form this summer, bowling at extreme pace in 3 tests against the West Indies and this series opener. Now, if England need to replace Wood, it could lead up to a call-up for uncapped Essex seamer Sam Cooke. Well, with that, we bring to a close this Saturday's final edition of YES101's Visual Radio. For details of all these stories and much more, do make sure to visit our website www.newsfirst.lk or follow us on our social media platforms. As always, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Good night.